Hi there and welcome along. Today we're looking at the Empire Picture Playhouse on the Marine Parade and Marlborough Terrace, Great Yarmouth, Norfolk in the UK. So, off we go then. The first purpose-built cinema to open in Great Yarmouth was the Gem on Marine Parade, opened in July 1908 by Mr. C.B. Cochrane, advertising a continuous flow of electric vaudeville showing all day long. The Gem, later to become the Windmill, was followed by the Empire, which opened on Saturday 1st of July 1911. It was designed by architect Arthur Samuel Hewitt, who also designed the Gem. The Empire Theatre consisted of stalls and one horseshoe-shaped circle which curved round to almost reach the proscenium. The theatre was equipped with dressing rooms and a band room under the stage. The stage itself was 40 feet wide by 48 feet deep and had a proscenium opening of 25 feet and a fly tower with grid and fly rails, which survive to this day. It was a solo screen cinema, of course, with a total of 932 seats. Prices on opening were threepence, sixpence and ninepence. The original projection equipment is unknown. The Empire was built by the local firm Harmons in Galt brick, with its facade clad in Leeds Fireclay Company vitreous buff terracotta. The cinema programme commenced every day at 11 a.m. Local businessman Mr. E.V. Barr, Ernest Valentine Barr, was a man with financial involvement in various enterprises, big and small, in Great Yarmouth and Galston in the first 4 decades of the 20th century. His name is perpetuated by inclusion in the electrical engineering firm of Bowers and Barr, trading from Hall Plain in Yarmouth. The Gem was leased by E.V. Barr Limited. Barr had interests in several cinemas in Lowestoft Yarmouth area. He was the lessee of the Empire and had a stake in the Galston Coliseum, opened August Bank Holiday 1913 and demolished in 1970. Also, by the way, featured on this channel. And Ernest Barr was chairman and managing director of the Regal Cinema in Great Yarmouth, which opened in 1934, later becoming the hugely popular ABC, also again on this channel. His fellow directors included others who were also shareholders in local companies, such as Douglas Attry of the Galston Coliseum, for one. The Empire ran very successfully, but it was eventually put on the market and was purchased by the Jay family in 1937. They operated it as a cinema until the late 1960s, when it switched to bingo. But it continued to screen late night shows after the evening bingo session finished and morning cartoon shows between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. during the summer season, May to September. In May 1988, the closure of the old Regal ABC canon meant that the Empire went back to films with Police Academy 5 and Crocodile Dundee 2. In 1991, the Empire was put up for sale by owner Peter Jay, but no buyer was found. It reopened for the summer of 1992. Now, Trevor Wicks, a regular contributor to this channel, says Hollywood Cinemas operated the Empire from 1992 for a few summer seasons, when the ABC region in Regent Road closed to become a bingo club. Not to be confused with the Regal ABC further up Regent Road. With a little under 1,000 seats, in only a few weeks over 63,000 patrons had attended from all over Norfolk, especially from Norwich, with the famous Dino buses. This was a bus regularly laid on for Norwich patrons to travel to Great Yarmouth with a reserved seat to see Jurassic Park at the Empire and spend a couple of hours in the seaside resort before the Dino bus returned them to the Prince of Wales Road in Norwich. Now, the old ABC Norwich nearby was operated by Canon at this time and you couldn't book seats, so the Empire's offer was unbeatable. In March 1996, Peter Jay, owner of the Empire, applied for planning consent to change the use of the building, converting it into a multi-restaurant street scene called Bourbon Street. By 2006, it was in use as a nightclub known as Zen, but this closed in September 2008. Despite attempts by Peter Jay to re-let the building, it remained mothballed and shuttered until 2021, when it was renovated and opened as a bar called simply The Empire. This has sadly now closed, just now actually, while I'm making this video, September 2025. The Empire now stands vacant once again. The Empire Picture Playhouse is a Grade 2 listed building. It is of historic interest as an early purpose-built cinema which retains some features indicative of its original use. It is of special architectural interest for its elaborate facade and as an example of early cinema architecture in Britain. Inside it contains good quality decorative plasterwork to the ceilings, the walls and the balcony. Despite some later 20th century alterations, it retains its form and decorative detail. Now let's get to the comments. John Calthorpe of Galston noted in an article several years ago that he got a job as fourth operator at the Empire Cinema in 1941 for about 15 shillings a week. Most cinemas then had up to 4 operators in order of seniority. His manager, Mr. Bowles, made him do other jobs like wearing uniform to collect tickets on the door. On Fridays he mixed fish glue from a barrel and cycled around 50 locations in the urban borough, pasting up posters advertising the next week's film programmes. One day the trade cycle fell over, drenching him in smelly fish glue. As it was wartime and he was only 15, his manager ordered him to take his turn at fire watching. This meant staying alone in the large cinema every 4th night in case there was an air raid and the building caught fire. John recalled in the article, "I realise now that at that time I had no idea what action I would have taken had there actually been a fire, and in any case at my age I should never have been there at all. We were supplied with a manually operated stirrup pump and a few pails of water." There were many bombing raids on Yarmouth while I worked there, and most were at night when I was alone in the building. I realised the danger and always left the building during a raid. I felt much safer lying flat on the promenade or crouching behind a nearby building. The benevolent manager had to provide sustenance for his fire watchers or pay them for a meal. He always gave me a tin of soup and a pint of milk. What a skinflint. Other staff were Steve Hudson. He worked there from 81 to 85, but only during bingo and late night film shows. The chief projectionist photo shown here is of Larry Brooks, but we don't know when he was there. Stephen Lindley worked there as projectionist 1993 to 94 when Trevor was running it. The duty manager at that time was Martin Pryor. Jeff Mapes was a projectionist, but when, we don't really know. Ian Munro, projectionist, 1988. And of course our manager during World War II, Mr. Bowles. John Calthorpe, 4th operator, 1941, and rather reluctant fire watcher. Now let's get to those Facebook comments. Stephen Lindley says, "I spent the summer and winter of 93-94 as the projectionist at that cinema when Trevor was running it. And I have to say, it was the most haunted cinema I've ever worked at. One night in the depths of winter, I was forced to stay overnight there as the snowstorm had blocked the roads home. The duty manager, Martin Pryor, had locked up and I was the only one left in the building. I could see the snow blizzard and hear the sound of the huge waves of the North Sea hitting the beach outside from the large upper windows, but nevertheless I tried to get some sleep. But several times that night I heard loud footsteps on the stairs leading up to the box and felt like I was being watched. Eventually, I looked out of the projection porthole and saw what appeared to be people moving about in the dark. I quickly raised the house lights and the auditorium was empty. I didn't get a lot of sleep that night and will certainly never forget it. Darren Bevan says, my manager from ABC Coventry, Geoffrey Mapes, was a projectionist there. He told me there was a fire in the box due to nitrate film, so it must have been a while ago, and he fell down the metal fire escape and broke his leg. Oh dear, oh dear. Ian Munro says, I worked there after the ABC cannon closed in 1988. And that's about it. That's the Empire in Great Yarmouth. Well, that's about it for this one. I really hope you liked this look at the Empire in Great Yarmouth. Until next time when we meet, be good to each other, and I'll see you soon. Ta-da.